Hey, this is Izzy Dakota Jones with the Art of Doing podcast for 2022. How you doing? Listen, we're going to be watching and talk, well, no, not, we're going to be listening and have a talk with Whitney Ullman. And Whitney comes from New Jersey on the East Coast. She's done freelance reporting for Entertainment Tonight, Good Morning America, interviewed people like Paris Hilton, Paul Stanley from Kiss, all kinds of interesting people. And we're going to have a chat with her and we're going to see how she's doing and what's been going on in her world and what she's got planned for 2022. So hang in there. We'll be talking to Whitney Ullman from across the land over to the east side.
Hello.
Hello, Whitney. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. How's things going over there?
That's cool. Everything's going well.
Yeah.
Good. We just had a major snowstorm, but that's about it.
Yeah, I know. I was watching that. You had a major snowstorm. We had one about 4 weeks before you. Yeah, and it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. We had like 5 days of it. Right. It was really weird. So we had like one day it was like not too bad. Next day it was really super icy, and then the next day big snowfall, and then 2 more days of just ice, and then finally we had one day it was like about 5 feet. It was just unreal. It just came down. People couldn't go anywhere. Right? It was just unreal.
I know. Yeah, it's wild, but you're used to it. I feel like.
Well, no, not on the West Coast. You'd be surprised.
Really?
Yeah, not in Vancouver. No. Vancouver's like Seattle a lot, where it rains a lot. It rains a lot here, in the winter and the fall.
Okay.
But since we've had the global warming sort of thing going on here, it's like totally changed now. Now they're actually funny. You bring that up. There's people. I know a few people who are in landscaping, and they're actually telling people now to change their, when they plant stuff, to plant stuff that is, further south.
Wow.
Yeah, because things are, last year we had tons of forest fires, right? Up here, right? So we're a lot in the summer, we're a lot like California. It doesn't change anymore. We get forest fires left, right, and center. And this year we had flooding. Believe it or not, really bad flooding this year. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. That's even almost worse.
I know we had major floods in the valley, like in the Fraser Valley, which is right down by the Washington State border, because one of the rivers down in Washington State flooded, and of course flooded the one that's the river next to it here, and it overflowed in the valley. So there's all the farmland and everything was all gone, and then the up north, going into the mountains and the ski areas and all that, all the roads were closed because there was landslides. So it was, we had one of those kind of weird winters where we had tons of snow, then we had a big flood, and then in the summer, of course, we had the big fires. So it's just wow. It hasn't stopped, right?
That's crazy.
I know. And then you guys had that big snowstorm. Wow. I know, it just goes on. Do you guys get the huge heat waves last year too? Did you get those too? You guys do?
I don't really think so.
No.
I don't remember having a heat wave.
Yeah, unreal. So what else is happening with you guys? How are you doing? How's things going with your career? What's going on with that?
Everything is. It's funny because it's actually picking up now.
Yeah.
People feel like in the winter things are kind of dull, but this is the time that it actually picks up because people are kind of preparing for the summer and the spring.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot in the last, I guess, few weeks, a lot more than I have in the last couple of months. My husband was actually in the hospital in September for COVID pneumonia.
Oh, yeah.
And it was real scary. He was in for the hospital for 5 weeks, and it kind of turned my life around, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I know what you mean, because I think I told you before, one of my other jobs, I work in healthcare. So I'm on the front line. I'm what you call a porter, right? I push people around, right, and take them to their tests and all that. So I've been dealing with the COVID thing for 2.5 years, right? So I know about being on the front lines. Me even so right now we're just coming out of it, right? We're just over on this side of the province. We're just finally coming out of the hospitals being packed again and everything like that. So it's been,
I know.
We're just starting to come out of it, and I think we're a lot like you guys down there. Where the people are getting tired, right? They're really getting fed up with it, right? So there's a lot of protesting going on right now, right? A lot of protesting. People are demanding that all the restrictions that we got going on should be lifted. We haven't had that many restrictions here for a while. They sort of shut down like gyms and stuff like that for a bit, and a few things like that. Like the amount of people in a bar, it was lessened. And in casinos, it just lessened. It isn't. They didn't shut it completely down, right? But people in those industries are upset because they're barely surviving, right?
Right.
It's
so crazy, but the good thing about it, is a lot of these restaurants and venues who never offered outside dining.
Oh yeah.
They now had to do it. They had to figure out how to make it work so they could actually keep revenue. And now they're like, hey, now we can actually do this. So a lot of them just kept it.
Yeah, well, you're right about that too, and I actually prefer it. I mean, when I've gone out with friends to some of them, it's been lots of fun, right? You go and hey, you want to go inside? I say, no, I like to sit outside, and we sit outside, and it's like, especially in the spring and the summer, it's like I said, this last summer we had that heat wave for like maybe 3 months straight. It was anywhere all the way. Yeah, we were into the hundreds, right? And it was the only sad thing about that. It was nice and hot, but a lot of people, like you said, like we're used to it, but we're not used to it here. So that was extreme weather. So people were getting sick and dying too, right? Because it was too hot, right? And people didn't know how to handle it. You know what I mean? They just weren't.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to.
I don't enjoy when it's really hot.
Yeah. I know. This was like really extreme hot. This was hot. Actually, I remember in July, it was actually warmer than Southern California. It was really weird because I phoned somebody in LA and talked to my manager for my bands in LA, and I'd say, Jay, how's things going? Yeah, not bad. We're about 75, 80 degrees. I said, okay, that's all right. How? He says, I looked at yours. He says, holy moly, you guys are like 95, 102. He says, what the heck's going on up there? I says, hey, you tell me we're warmer than you guys are, right?
Oh my gosh. Isn't that crazy?
I know, it's weird, isn't it? But yeah, you're right. People are, I guess that's happening a lot in New Jersey and all around there in New York, that I guess they have a lot of outdoor dining and stuff, right?
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to get creative. You know what I mean? That's the thing. What we miss, I don't know how you guys are doing, but I know in Washington State and Seattle and that, one of my friends that I interview, he's a musician down there. Like they're playing a lot all of a sudden. Like there's a lot of work. Like the bands are starting to get back out there, and there's a lot of stuff going on in Washington State. But when I talk to my manager in LA, not as much yet. And up here, the same thing. There's not much going on. How about you guys? You got lots going on, or is it slow to come back?
We do. Well, we do. I mean, Atlantic City is kind of like the mecca of entertainment, if you will, for the East Coast. I mean, look, I know obviously there's other major cities like New York and Philadelphia, but Atlantic City has the casinos, and there is a lot of live entertainment because you have to think about it. I mean, some of these casinos are so big, not only do they have showrooms, but then they also have lounges, and there's a ton of lounge acts throughout each casino, almost daily, if not weekly.
Wow.
Different casinos. So it is still, I think it's still thriving. I mean, they're now promoting an 80s show, an 80s live show that's going to be at Hard Rock, and I know like the team of dancers there, and that's just for the month of February. I mean, that's just one thing. But then if you go on that property, you'll see different acts live in their lobby bar. You'll see people in the arena. Even at Borgata, they have two different venues. They have the Music Box, which is a smaller venue, and there's always somebody performing there. And then there's the event center there. So you just don't know. And then there's the Circus Maximus Theater at Caesars. And if you go even to all of the casinos have nightlife with DJs and sometimes live entertainment. You just never know, who's going to be there, but it's all popular. People, like, at Harrah's, there's the Pool After Dark. They have DJs Fridays and Saturdays, sometimes Thursdays, Fridays. It just depends. You have Anthem Nightclub, Kiss Kiss Nightclub at Tropicana not only is a nightclub, but they also have AC Jokes, which is a comedy show, and they literally perform every day of the week.
Wow.
So you can see comedy every day at Tropicana at Kiss Kiss with AC Jokes. So, I mean, there's so much to choose from. It's kind of, I think it's like a misconception. Like people feel like, oh, if I go to Atlantic City, will there be entertainment? Will there be something to do? Yeah, there's a ton to do. And especially next week, because we have the big game and we have Valentine's Day, there's just a lot going on.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's great. Like I said, see, in Washington State, that's what you got going on in Seattle and Tacoma. My buddy was saying all over, there's tons of, the casinos are happening. I mean, my buddy said he was booked, before the pandemic really got bad, and he says, I had like 142 gigs, and he said all of a sudden it went to nothing. I says, wow, that's a huge drop, right? And you can't get any bit worse than that. He says, now I'm up to 100 again. So I said, wow, that's fast. He says, yeah, it's like quite the turnaround. But then, like I said, in LA, like I asked Jay, and Jay was saying to me, he says, well, only the big shows. So, they got the new stadium there where the Super Bowl is going to be, right? And he was saying, well, yeah, we've got the Rolling Stones, we got the big shows coming in, but the small venues are not happening yet. They're not. There's nothing shaking.
I've heard that. It's a little bit different there. So I totally get it.
Yeah, and it's the same here. The same here too. We don't have a lot going on live. I think right now, I think we only have, you wouldn't believe it, we only probably got like 4 venues that are open. Yeah, only 4. The casinos are open, but there's not a lot of live entertainment in the casinos yet, and it's just been very, very, very slow. You can't dance, right? Get that. We can't dance. You can't.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah. Can you believe that? Like, so I played a show last weekend at one of the bars, at neighborhood bars that we play, and it's like a mainstay for live entertainment in the city. So he's just the owners are really nice. They're just like, we're not stopping playing live music. We're going to continue it. And as long as they own the bar, they said it's going to be live entertainment all the time. And so we played there, but you can't dance. So the people are sitting there, and what happens when the people get up to start dancing? The staff have to come over and tell you to sit down, right? Or they boot you out, right? Because you're not allowed to get up without your mask on either, right?
It's well, New Jersey is a little bit more lenient. They just made a mandate in Philadelphia proper that you have to have a mask, you have to be fully vaccinated, like there's, you can get fined to go into any of the venues. So they're making it, really difficult for people, at least in some of the cities. And City, thankfully, hasn't been like that. I think it's tough for them because the casinos are so big, and it's hard to make regulations and rules like that because it deters people, and the whole thing is you don't want to deter anybody. Like, they want people to be spending money, so it's very hard to regulate something like that.
They
do it. They've done it. So.
Oh yeah. No, they've done it here too. We've got it on our phone. So like if I go to I go to work out, go to the pool or the gym, for instance, you have to have a vaccine card, right? And I mean, you have to. It's an app. It's on your phone, right? It's on your phone, and you just like show your phone. You have to show your ID. It's similar to like that, right? And people are they're doing stuff like that, and you can see there's times where places, venues will be a little relaxed, because like you said, they don't want to like completely freak the people right out, right?
Right.
They did that recently at one of the hockey games here. It's at the hockey, since we had a bit of a surge with that last virus, so there's a surge going on, so they cut the capacity to half the crowd, right? So what happened is, though, the crowd's sitting in there, and when of course you're allowed to eat and drink, so when you're eating and drinking, they're taking their masks off, right? So they just don't put their masks back on. So it's on TV, and it's going right across Canada, and so you'll see, oh, Vancouver, look at this, they're not wearing their masks in the stands, right? And so all of a sudden, so like the premier of the province, which is like the governor of the state, he's going like, I gotta talk to you people, like you can't be doing that, right? You stop eating, and when you finish eating, put your mask back on, because we have rules here, right? You're not following them, right? So it's really messed up like that, right? It just you go like, oh shoot, right? People.
Yeah, there was a concert recently, and they said they were requiring everyone to wear their masks, and I was just thinking, like, how, like, that is just so dumb. Like, if I want to sing to my songs that I like at the concert, I don't want to have my mask on.
I know it's weird, and then you got then you got people like so. But see what happened when that happened here. Like then on the news, they're talking about the province next door, Alberta, and so Alberta is a lot like Texas, right? It's got oil and everything going on, right? So it's one of those provinces, right? You know, they have the Calgary Stampede, you know, Cowboys, everything. It's all Alberta is totally like that, and so and so. But Alberta got smart with the hockey. What they did was, or even the football games, what they ended up doing was they just said, okay, they made designated areas where you go and eat and drink. So when you go back to your seats, you have to wear the mask at the game because you're all so close, right? So they just said. So I said, why didn't they do that here? For heaven's sakes, you know, that's make total sense. Make an area where everybody can sit down and eat, take their masks off, have a drink, relax. Then when they're ready to go back to the game, they go back to the game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like that was totally smart. But you know, instead of getting mad at the people in their seats and when they're eating and drinking and watching the game, I get they want to stop them from like going to the game and having a hot dog or something and watching the game and a beer, right? I get it, but and watching the game, but if there's restrictions, you just have to modify it, right?
Yeah.
But people don't think these things through. But yeah, it's been weird times. It sure has.
I know, for sure.
Yeah, and I guess like what things are popping up that'd be better for you right now, right? So what do you got on the burner going up?
I know. Well, I actually created a website called thecitypulse.com.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, it's really cool. I basically created it out of a necessity because we needed kind of like a one-stop hub of things happening in our area, our local area anyway. And I started to grow it, and we started it right through Atlantic City, Jersey Shore, then Philadelphia, some New York, and it just keeps growing. And so I've been really updating that and putting, things that are happening on there, just events and stuff going on. I mean, I just went to a press conference for pickleball. I mean, have you heard of the sport pickleball?
No, tell me about it.
Well, I mean, I'm not the most sporty person, but basically it's kind of like a merge between tennis, badminton, and ping pong.
Oh, wow.
So, if you can imagine that. And they just had the pickleball champion, his name is Kyle Yates, in Atlantic City, because they're having the largest indoor pickleball championships in September. So they're starting to promote it now. So there's things like that going on. There's celebrity boxing is coming to, Atlantic City. He's been doing it for years. There's different celebrities who will be competing this time around, and like Flava Flav will be the MC. And it's really fun, when you come to the events. And I've been to basically all of them. And I'm lucky enough where I part of my business, I staff models for events. So some of the girls, the ring card girls, are my girls that I, staff there, and the ushers and different people. So I love that kind of stuff. So there's an actual press conference for that this weekend because the event comes up in March. And, in boxing, there's also the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame, which is going to be really huge, and it's going to be in Hard Rock in October. And there's just so many great things that are in the works for the city, and so I'm like constantly promoting. I'm working with a local coffee shop called Barista's Coffee House, and just highlighting some of the really cool lattes that they have, and this is different stuff, and they have great fresh food every day, and it's so good. And there's even a restaurant called the Sun Tavern, which is kind of near the Atlantic City Convention Center, and they're starting to like refresh their whole menu, and they have a brewery, the Diving Horse Brewery, inside, and people don't even know. Like, they have great beer.
Wow.
And yeah, and then the same owner, he also opened a car wash called Splash and Dash, and it's just state of the art. I mean, it's so cool. It's like, why wash your car at home? And you could just go there, and it's better for the environment. So, there's so much. And like a lot of my favorite restaurants that, I had to close or had to kind of lessen their hours or menus during the pandemic are back up and running. And I just love it. Like, and Bally's Atlantic City is literally like turning the corner. There's just so many great restaurants there.
That's good.
Chop House and Water Dog. It's Whiskey Week this weekend, so I'm going to a whiskey pairing dinner tomorrow. But cool. I'm also going on the news Friday morning, so now I can't even have the whiskey. Oh man, I was looking forward to that today. I'm on Friday morning at 5:30 a.m. And I come on tomorrow instead.
Holy smoke, eh? Wow. That's great. So things are I'm glad that's happening because, like I said, I wish that. I know that'll happen here. Like I said, it's just starting to. They're talking about hints of turning, flipping things back. So I know that they're going to do it slowly, though. Here, they're in this province. It's British Columbia. The government's just being really cautious, but they're going to do it slowly. And you know what? There's the lady who runs it. Her name's Dr. Bonnie Henry, and she's the head medical person. You know what? She's for the most part she's pretty smart, right? Like she's pretty good, right? She understands people's frustrations and stuff. But she's been pretty good. I gotta admit, she's pretty popular here, right? In BC, like you either love her or you hate her, right? Sort of thing, right? So, but she's been pretty good. I mean, she's like, when she was just last on, and she just said, a couple of days ago on TV, she just said, well, we're gonna turn the switch back on, but it's gonna be slow. She goes, we don't want any rebound, because if we rebound, then we go right back, and then everybody's gonna be upset. She goes, we don't want to do that. Let's take it slow, right? And I kind of agree with her. Just move bit by bit, right?
Yeah.
And I think this thing is just going to be eventually. It's going to be like every winter for a while. It's going to be like that, for all of us. I don't think it's like it's a virus, right?
I know, and what's crazy? It's like if you look back at some of my videos on Facebook, I've been talking about this for years. This is way before the pandemic, about stop sneezing in your hand, use your elbow. Like, people are so gross. Like, you're spreading germs.
Yeah.
Like, I was always talking about that, and it's just so wild that now it's like a big deal. Like, people are understanding it, and because I never understood that. Like, you sneeze in your hand, and then you go and you touch the doorknob, and now the next person goes, you touch the doorknob. It's like, what? Like, it's just common sense.
Well, that's like what happened here. Like, funny you say that. Like, maybe 10, 20 years ago, when we had a change in government, we had a government that was, very, very, it was called the BC Liberal government, right? But they weren't liberals. They were, which I didn't like. That part of it was they were very, very right wing of the party, right? And so what they did was they started privatizing all the housekeeping and cleaning in the hospital, right? And there had been studies over in Europe when they did this, that the infection rate went up, right? Because, dude, I mean, no criticism of the companies, but the companies, what they do is they're in to make money, right? It's a company. They have to have profit. They have shareholders, all that kind of stuff. And the problem is that when they do that, they have less people on the shifts. So, like, before that, like, you could work you work in the hospital, and I'd be, I'm all over the hospital, and you'd have, like, in the daytime, you'd have like 25 to 30 housekeepers. They call them the cleaners, right? And they'd be going everywhere and cleaning the place, and they'd be given special projects to keep the place, like, the place was really clean. The one place, so very clean all the time, always cleaning. And then when the private companies came in, instead of 30 people in the daytime, they were down to 15.
Wow.
And then the infection rates did go up. And then next thing you know, and then plus the people's wages, of course, were lower with the private companies. So when they were government workers, yes, they were making a decent wage. Not great, but they're making a good wage. An entry-level wage that was pretty good for a government worker. And then when the private company came in, of course, the wage was like half that. And then all of a sudden, so the workers had to work more than one job to be able to survive in the world, right? So they were either working, housekeeping, say, at this hospital, then they'd be working another job somewhere else, doing something, other labor job, somewhere else in the private sector or something, other than a government job. So they'd be working and they'd be burning out, right? So because people, and so people would, they're lazy. They're not lazy. They just, they're burning out, guys.
Yeah, they're tired.
Yeah, and so it just, our infection rates in the hospitals in this province went through the roof, and so it finally, I mean, just in the last couple of years, when the government changed, the new government came in, and it's called the New Democratic Party. But they've got, you were in politics, you get it. They're all different names, and all different branches of people within those parties. You know what I mean? People to the center, people to the left, people to the right. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, there's all kinds of stuff like that. Even with us, right? And so it was like that. So you got a party that was, you used to say, was very much to the left, but that party got smart and they put a centrist in, right? Of course, the centrist guy comes in, and and he just says, okay, we're gonna get rid of the privatization. It's gonna take us a while, but we'll honor the contracts, and when the contracts are up, they're out the door, and we're bringing back in so we can lower the infection rates. Perfect timing, right? Just in the middle of a pandemic, right?
Yeah, right.
It's funny how that all lines up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. You kind of look and go, okay, that's really good politics, right? But
politics for you.
And I think you're right. Like, I don't think people realize like how easy it is to spread stuff, right? How because like I said, we see it all the time in the hospital. So when I go to work, I'm like, now I have to gown up. Like, I go to pick a patient up, and they warn me, this patient's COVID, Joe. It's going for a test. I'm going for an X-ray, and I go, okay. So I have to put my gloves on. I have to put all my respiratory gear on, and cover up all my clothes, and I got like 5 layers of clothes. Nobody knows who I am walking down the hallway. That's the best part.
That's what with my husband. Like, he would be in a video call, and the nurses would come in, and they're all all that garb on and everything, and it's just like, wow, it's a lot.
Yeah.
That you have to do. Like, people, thank God for the nurses. I mean, it's just I think a lot of them are desensitized in terms of like they've seen so many people die, so they're not as.
I'm that way. Yeah.
You're that way. Yeah, it's different. I think that they were very compassionate and very good at what they did, and they made you feel like it's okay in a sense, but they were very matter of fact. So like.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be. Yeah, you are. Most people are in that profession, except for if it's your family member. Of course, it's different, right? Because then you do take it to heart. But like if you're not, most times we like I said, wow. The only thing that is like I explained to one person, Whitney, is that when the surge was really on. I mean, there's a little surge now, but when the big surge was on about a year ago, I take people to the morgue too, right? That's part of my job. And I would take like, maybe in a shift, sometimes it would take like maybe 1, maybe 2. I work an 8-hour shift, maybe 1 or 2 people. And during the pandemic, I was taking up to 7 to 8.
Oh my God.
And that, I tell you, not being able to, I'd go home and I'd work on writing songs and, for my band, and we couldn't rehearse and couldn't play anywhere because it's, the big surge is on and everything's locked down. And so I come home and I go to the liquor store and I buy a bottle. I start drinking and writing songs.
God.
And because you're depressed, right? My girlfriend would say to me, "Are you okay?" And I says, "No, not really. I just took 8 people to the morgue today, and I don't feel all that good about it, right?" And she goes, "Wow."
Yeah.
So it's sort you desensitize in the sense that you realize what's happening, but on a certain level, it does start to bother people after a while, right? Starts to weigh on you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only thing only thing in healthcare, I think that bothers. Especially the front, like you said, the nurses or myself, porters and stuff on the front lines, is when people have COVID and they don't recognize that they got it. Because we get people like that. They come in, "Oh, I don't have it." Well, all the tests show that you got it. Well, I don't got it. And, you just shake your head and you go, "Holy smoke, what is wrong with these people?" Right?
Yeah. It's wild. You just don't know people nowadays.
Yeah, you don't. But there you go. But I'm glad things are turning around. Like I said, that's positive, right? And like I said, it's interesting how, especially in the U.S., because you guys got such a big country, it's interesting how diverse things happen when I talk to different people down there, right? How things open up and some things are not there yet. And here in Canada, we're not there yet. We're all sort of just changing now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's different. Every state is different. People, go about everything differently. It's crazy.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And you guys seem in New Jersey and New York. I get like, I guess people up here, so you sort of know we kind of look at you guys like, we go, you guys are very outgoing. You know what I mean? We find you guys like, Canadians are they're all wild and crazy and come from the north, but actually Canadians are really very conservative, right? Pretty laid back for the most part, right? And but when we look at you guys are a lot more like outgoing, like hey, no problem, we just forge right through it, right?
Yeah, what other option do you have, really?
I know, it's interesting. Yeah, interesting. That's so true. So that's great, and so you got all that going on. I'm just amazed, like how you're busy, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, I am busy, and it's good. It's a very good thing, and every day I'm grateful, and even today, I just got so much accomplished today, and I have so much more to do, and it's just good. It makes you feel good when you have stuff going on, and to know that even in the time that we're in now, you can still be busy and you can still get business, and it's, there's still money out there, and there's still people who need help, and there's still entertainment, so it's all good.
Yeah, I think what's your take? What's your take on what's happening in in the entertainment? Like when I talk to like Jay in LA, my manager's been at it for like hundreds of years. But what's your take on it? Like things are really like everything's streaming for sure. These days, like everything's beside the live stuff that comes back. Like music in general, or even film and TV, everything seems to be like on streaming and going in that direction. What do you think about that? How do you think, is that the future? That's what I've been told.
Yeah, I definitely think so, but there is something to be said for the feeling you get when you're live in person, actually feeling the music and if people perform. There's something to be said for that, but yeah, it is the wave of the future. It's just the way it is. Streaming is so popular. I'm 41, so I know I'm not that young or that old, but I remember, getting a cassette tape and getting a CD, and then, even I was talking to my husband about when we would go to Blockbuster. That was our date night.
Yeah.
Had movies and come home, and then we would watch that. So now you just go on your TV, you hit a button, and you could watch anything that you want, and you could hear anything that you want. And there's XM radio now. There's just so many different vehicles for people to get their music out there, and it's definitely a lot different in the industry in terms of having a manager and signing a contract with a label, because now everyone's independent. Like, people want you to do it on their own. You can post your own social media and make yourself go viral. You don't need these companies of your royalties.
Well, I know. It's like the other day we were talking to one of my buddies, Ken, who does all the computer stuff for us. He sticks us on TikTok, and we get pictures or video footage. We get 8,000 hits.
Yeah.
And then we do it the next week, and we get another 8,000 hits or 10,000. Like, we're just going like, holy smoke! We do. We put a show live. We all stream it live, and we miss it. Like you said, we miss the live interaction with the crowd. But when we stream it, then you get another 5,000, another 7,000 people. We're going like, holy moly, we never get that in a bar,
Right. Well, and that's the other thing. What I've seen too, which I think is interesting, is a lot of times the bands that are playing at bars or lounges, they'll have a sign with their Venmo handle or Cash App. And I think that's kind of cool, because if you like a band and you don't want to go up and put cash in a bucket, or you don't have cash, you could just go right on your Venmo and send them money. It's kind of interesting.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that. Really, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Especially if you're in a large crowd and you can't have a tip jar because you're on a stage, but why not? Put it out there. I have a girlfriend of mine that does that all the time. She sings and plays keyboard, and she'll go to a bar or a venue, and on her little sign on her keyboard it says, if you like my music, Cash at me or Venmo me here, and put the handle, and she'll make money that way. People send tips.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? And then my buddy Ken was saying we would go on to the we find Facebook, we stream. We also stream on Twitch, right? And Ken was saying to me, he says to me, he watches Twitch. He says he's got all these people. Like, one guy gets up in the morning and makes breakfast, And then he goes over, and then it shows him, getting in his car, driving down the street, going to work. And he says, this is what this guy does for a living.
No, that's the thing. I mean, listen, I look at all that stuff too, and I'm like, why am I not getting that many hits? Or, I get a lot of hits for the things, but then when you watch some of the things that these people do, and you're like, how are they getting all of this money and hits? It's just funny.
I know Ken was saying it's hilarious. He says, he watches this is bizarre. So I have a girl in my band, her name is Cookie. Her nickname's Cookie, we call her Cookie, right? And the reason why we do that, when she comes to rehearsal, she brings cookies, bakes cookies, right?
Oh, wow. Can I come to your rehearsal?
You sure can. So I told her the other day, I says, why don't we do a show where you bake cookies and you invite celebrities on in your kitchen? I said, I'll help you do it. I mean, we know tons of musicians in the city. They're not doing anything right now. And she just went, she goes, you serious? Anybody would take that seriously? I says, of course they would.
Yeah. We actually talked about doing something like that here in Atlantic City, but with like sports stars and doing things with them, like same thing with food. So yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I says, because people will love that stuff. I says they love to be entertained like that, especially by I says it's just an interesting thing to do. I mean, what's her name does that? I'm trying to think of that one pop star. She has a cooking show syndicated, and I've watched. I forget her name, Selena Gomez, right? I think it is. And I've watched her show. It's hilarious. She can't cook with beans, but like she's learning as she goes, right? And it's not bad,
Yeah, it's fun for sure.
Yeah, so that's great. I mean, I because I know you watch for those kinds of trends. That's why I wanted to ask you what you're thinking of the streaming, because I think that's just the way it's going. Like you said, I don't think there's no way around it, right? I mean, I think that's the way the venues are going to go eventually, right? Everything's going to go that way.
Yeah, I think that will be the way, especially if we keep going like this in terms of all the rules and regulations for in-person events. Then yeah, I mean, because a lot of people are scared to go out now, and they're nervous about different things, and nobody wants to get sick. So it's just easier to stream something and watch it. It's just not the same feeling. So it just depends on what you like to do, really.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. You know what? Funny you say that, because I feel this. Like I says, I'm on the front lines of healthcare, but even I have a hard time going to a bar just with friends now. I'll go, but to a place that I'm familiar with, but I'm even nervous. It's weird, isn't it? It's really strange. Like, I mean, at Christmas time, I went to my cousin's, and out of 8 of us, 7 got COVID. And I didn't get it. So I mean, I didn't get it in the sense that I didn't feel the symptoms. Like, my cousins all called me and said, "We all got sick, Joe. Are you okay?" And I says, "I'm fine." I says, "I might have it though. I might be asymptomatic, right?" I says, "I've had all my shots because of work. I have to have all the shots or you don't work." So I said, "I've been triple shotted." So I says, "I got 3 shots in me," but I says, it's going to help me. But I says, yeah, maybe I got it and I don't even know it. I says,
Yeah, well, that's the point of the shot. I mean, so it's to lessen it.
Yeah. And so.
And it's not as bad.
Yeah, exactly. Talk about snow, Whitney. It's snowing outside right now.
No way. Aw, I brought the snow to you.
You did. It's wet snow, but that's okay. It'll be gone tomorrow, it says on the app here.
Good. Well, be careful.
I will. It's nice talking to you again. You know that? I appreciate the conversation and all that you're doing. I like to stay in touch with you, especially because where you're at on your side of the planet and we're on this side. So, and anytime you want to call me and shoot the breeze about what's going on over here, let me know. No problem.
Okay, I love it. I think it's great. I always appreciate you reaching out, and I'm totally down for that.
Yeah.
And it changes. Every month it changes. So I would love to keep you posted. Maybe we can even do something quarterly with different seasons, with spring and summer coming up.
Especially, I think so too, because things are starting to happen, right? Yeah. I think you're right. I think we'll be fine this spring and summer and early fall, and then the winter again. We might cross our fingers. It's not going to be as bad. I think it's going to lessen as because I think the virus is starting to weaken, because the history of these kind of things I hear is every 4 years, about 4 years, and it starts to die, and we're going into the 3rd year. So, it'll end up like the flu eventually, right? It'll be that kind of. Yeah, and it's still got to be careful with even the flu, but it's not going to be as bad as long as no pandemics for a while, please. Not in my lifetime or
Yes,
yours.
it is. Let's not put it in the universe, okay?
Yeah, let's get rid of it. We don't need it for a while. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah, we're over it.
Yeah. You take care and have a safe day, okay? Both you and your husband, all right? You guys be safe.
So much.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon, Whitney. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye. So that was Whitney Ullman. See, what a nice lady. She's got lots on the go, lots going on in New Jersey and New York. I think I'm going to keep in touch with her a little bit more because she knows what's going on out there and she's fun to talk to. So that's Whitney, everybody. Peace out.